I think we should start with something that we didn't even think we were going to talk about, which is just to start it off, that inflation piece. When, we just did a live stream, I did it with Tim, and I noticed a lot of people are just, they get upset when, whether it's TFL or, Tim from Pickup Truck Talk or any of these guys say, hey, look, trucks aren't that expensive nowadays. And they'll give examples of, say, do you remember this video just came out? We'll just cut to this real quick. Did you see this video?
I did. Yep.
So yeah, basically it's doing a video with it's a 2011 F-150 versus the new. The comments really show kind of what I saw on my channel with Tim, which is there's a camp of people that they feel like it's not just the cost of the truck that matters. So if you compare that 2011 F-150 that costs $41,000 versus a new one that costs, maybe it's 48 or 50,000, and they say, well, the cost of inflation, that's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a jump over that long of a period. And I think what you and I were talking about was they're not factoring in things like health insurance. Your car insurance has doubled, your homeowners insurance has doubled, your property taxes have doubled, all these other things that aren't included in that factoring yet. What do you think about that?
I'm right there with you. And it's everything that's there. And we were talking off air when we were talking about that and discussing it. We were saying that especially somebody who has a job that is a salary, or it is a 40-hour week, it is a paycheck, it is a weekly or whatever paycheck that's coming in, a sort of fixed income, we could say that they have. And yet every 6 months, like you said, insurance, whatever it is, but all these things keep taking more money out of that fixed income, leaving them with less and less. And they may not have that option to work more overtime, or as self-employed people pick up more jobs or do more things. They may not have that luxury. So, and I would say that the bulk of the country lives that paycheck to paycheck type of lifestyle, where it's the same money coming in unless there's a review at the end of the year, but that's their world to work with. And every month or every time, it seems like some company or business is taking another chunk of that from them. So inflation is one thing. Yeah, the prices of cars may not have changed that much inflation wise, but the amount of available income to use towards said cars or any of that other kind of stuff, it's greatly reduced by every other aspect, from streaming services to cable bills to cell phone bills to, like you said, your property taxes, your car insurance, like we were talking about, you were saying car insurance, homeowners insurance, health insurance, all of this stuff is just taking so much of their money away. There's nothing left anymore. And so I can feel the frustration for them. And then when you got eggs costing $7 and you got 4 mouths to feed, it's unreal. It's too brutal for everybody, and they feel it, and they're frustrated. And the last thing they want to hear is somebody tell them that, you know what, I bought this truck, you should be able to buy this truck too. If you can't afford this, you're doing something wrong, because it's not true. It's inflation is one thing, but free money at the end of when you've paid all your bills, that is not working with the way inflation is also. So there's less money for people to take advantage of.
Yeah, here's you see this comment that just came in from I'm on Jane Parker.
Let me actually go to comments. I'm on. I see him now. I'm seeing what to say.
Yeah, she's asking for tips to buy a used pickup and looking to transport dogs, furniture, lumber. 10-year-old Ford Ranger or Toyota Tacoma. Man, it's tough because the Tacoma's super reliable, but lately, at least what I see in the used Toyota market is they're so inflated just because of the name, and then the new Toyotas came out and they weren't as reliable. So you end up seeing that the newer Toyotas cost a little bit less, even like the used 2022 Tundras are less than a 2021 Tundra. So I haven't looked at that. The
Tacoma's the same. It's the same way. I've seen them on a lot. I did a couple of videos on those where you had a used 2024 and a used 2023, and a used 2023 was actually more than a 2024.
Yeah. So advice for, man, that's a tough one. I would go drive them both. Look at reliability ratings on, an easy site like carcomplaints.com, and just drill down to the years you're looking at and compare the reliability. Make sure there's no catastrophic problems with the engine or transmission, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah, and the Ranger is a good truck. I mean, when did this one come out? 2019? Is that when that came out for the new style? I think for
Yeah, somewhere around there.
yeah, something
I
like that. So if you're going back 10 years, you're back past that. But Ranger's always been a pretty reliable little truck. They're easy, so if you're beyond that and you're back before the 2.3 turbo and stuff like that, which is a fantastic motor, but now you're talking naturally aspirated 4-cylinder and it probably affordable to work on. I owned my last Ranger I owned was 90, I don't know, 97 or 98, but I would imagine, I don't know what that 10-year ago Ranger motor would have had in it, but I think it would have been an option for a V6 and for a 4-cylinder, and both of them naturally aspirated, simple, low power. They're probably going to be very reliable and cheap to work on.
Yeah. What do you think about Dan here? He says, would you go Power Wagon or Tremor? I guess, boy, it could be year dependent, all sorts of stuff there.
Yep. And for me, it'd be, if I'd go Power Wagon, and the reason for that is the Power Wagon is smaller than those are both off-road trucks. That's my whole world. But with the Power Wagon is a little bit smaller in size than the F-250 is in a Tremor, so it's more maneuverable, more flickable, and I get the front lockers. Motor-wise, the Hemi that's in the Power Wagon is amazing, and the 7.3 in a Tremor would be absolutely amazing too. So the motors are a complete wash. They were both solid front axle. I'd go Power Wagon for the size and the front lockers, but I get very mad at the Power Wagon for the tiny roller skate tires they put on it with the little 33s on it. So I'd have to go 35 minimum. 37 would be great, but either one of them, I don't think you can fit a 37 in the spare underneath. So tough call, but both amazing trucks. But for me, the size of the Power Wagon make it a little better.
Yep. Yeah, and then we got Loon Jane coming back. She says, what pickups are dependable, affordable? So this is funny because there are some pickups that I think people overlook, and Nissan had a bad name because of their CVTs. But if you look at kind of the older Frontiers, there are some really affordable older Frontiers. I would look at 2010 to 2018-ish, that range. You got the 4-liter port injection. You don't have high pressure fuel pumps. You don't have a lot of things that, I mean, those were just dead reliable. You had one little transmission bypass you could do that take you 20 minutes if you really wanted to get it perfect with that 5-speed transmission it had. But man, they just didn't have any problems. My dad has an Xterra. He's got 224,000 miles on it with that 4-liter, and that thing is so torquey and runs like brand new. My sister has an Xterra, 4-liter, 5-speed, 2009s, and they run as good or better than any of the new stuff, and they haven't had any problems.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that me being down here in the South, we don't get snow down here or any conditions like that. So I see a lot of vehicles running around, and I'll tell you what, I see more 10 and 15-year-old Frontiers than I do new Tacomas out here. I mean, they're running around everywhere, and they look brand new. They're running like a champ. They work fantastic.
Yeah.
And the Xterras too. See them everywhere, and I drool over the Xterras. My buddy John had one, so like you said, he had it for like 10 years, put 5 million miles on it or something, and it just kept right on going. It was sunburnt, looked like rough as can be, but the thing just never stopped moving.
Yeah.